we ready? Regular board meeting of September 13th, 2021 will come to order. Ms. Cotter, can you take a roll call?
Yes, sir. Ms. Cotter is present. Mr. Long?
Here.
Thank you. Mr. Wiseman?
Here.
Mrs. Forrest?
Here.
Mrs. Dodd?
Here.
Mrs. Pastana?
Here.
And Mr. Carlson?
Here.
All present. Thank you.
Thank you. Please rise if you can for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. I'll now ask for a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Support. Moved by Ms. Pastana, supported by Mr. Long. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. The agenda is approved as presented. There are no board president comments this evening. We'll move right into recognitions. I'll turn it over to Ms. Root.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education and President Carlson and members of our community. It's my honor tonight to introduce Ms. Patricia Campbell, who is going to serve as the advocate. So I'm going to ask her to come forward to the podium. Tonight we get to honor a person who has been so special to Huron Valley. It just doesn't seem like honoring her here tonight is even enough. And when we were asked to put forth Huron Valley Heroes, the person that we're honoring tonight fits the bill to a T. She's extraordinary in her work, extraordinary as a person, and so I'm going to let Ms. Campbell tell you why.
Thank you, Ms. Root. It is my distinct honor to be here tonight to honor a very special person to Huron Valley. It really is impossible to think about Highland Elementary without picturing Mrs. Johnson, and I was lucky enough to spend my first year at Highland with her. Barb had quite the career in Huron Valley that spanned 30 years. Her first 2 years she taught at Lakewood in the mornings and Highland in the afternoon. She had also at one time did a split between Apollo and Highland before landing at Highland for her full day. She taught kindergarten, LEAP, and pre-first. Barb gave back to Huron Valley far beyond the classroom. She was a kindergarten cohort leader for many years and wanted to be a part of making sure that our students had the best and most up-to-date resources to use and made piloting Oakland Schools' reading and writing programs, everyday math, and math expressions a priority. She was also a longstanding member of the HVS Science Committee and the Highland School Improvement Team. Lori Beach, our literacy coach, said, Barb was always willing to grow her craft. She never turned down coaching tips or new ideas. She actively wanted more feedback on improving her craft. She is a reflective person and looked for continuous improvement. Barb brings sunshine to every room she walks into, and it was only fitting that she led our Sunshine Committee at Highland for many years, working to brighten people's days when they needed it most. Mrs. Johnson has a heart of gold. She will always go the extra mile to do anything for students, for families, and for our staff. And you know you hit the jackpot when you were the recipient of her famous Amish bread or her homemade fudge. There is no one more giving than Barb. We are lucky that she didn't fully say goodbye to Highland and is still there supporting us as a volunteer, already helping our new kindergarten teacher who is teaching out of her classroom and helping with the first day of school kindergarten activities already. Barb said that she loves teaching and will miss the children, parents, our great Highland staff, and especially her teaching partner, Carol. She loved working in a building where staff has always been there to support each other. But we are so happy for her family that all of the sunshine that she has given to us during the school year can fully be dedicated to them. There is no one like Mrs. Johnson, and her legacy of kindness, a gentle strength, and dedication to our students will always be the legacy that she leaves within all of us who walked the halls with her at Highland. She will always be a true Huron Valley hero. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tricia. Also, on behalf of the Board of Education, we want to bestow on you a Huron Valley Hero certificate. Also, we would like to recognize this occasion with our coin. On the front of the coin, it says Huron Valley Schools, inspiring and building futures, one student at a time. I think you've had over 1,000 kindergartners, right, in your years? At least, right? At least. I can't imagine that. And on the back, it says academics, athletics, and arts. And we're so grateful that you've chosen Huron Valley as your employer and as your home. And on behalf of all the kindergarten teachers that have come through, I know personally, I remember my kindergarten teacher's name, Mrs. DeLynn, and I'm sure they all remember your name. And thank you so much for your service to this district.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Would you like to say a few words?
All right, I have to stand on my toes. I've always taught kindergarten because fifth graders were way too tall. I had to look up at them. They didn't always have to look up at me. I had to look up at them. But I don't know what to say. There's a lot of people I feel would be even more deserving of this award than I am, and I'm very humbled to receive it. And I couldn't believe it when Tricia called me on Saturday. So thank you so very much. I love Huron Valley, and I have at the moment a granddaughter in 8th grade at White Lake. Leah's there, and William is 3rd grade at Highland, and I intend to be a part of Huron Valley Schools. We've got more grandkids coming, so I intend to be a part of Huron Valley Schools for a long time. So thank you so very much.
Next is Huron Valley highlights. Mr. Board President, turn that back over to you.
It's Miss Brower. Is Miss Brower in the audience? Okay. Well, why don't we move on in the agenda? We can come back.
Yeah, teacher tenure.
Oh, teacher tenure. I'm sorry. Is that on me?
Yes.
Okay, my apologies. I thought we were doing Lakewood. So earning teacher tenure is no easy task in the state of Michigan, and it's only bestowed upon those who put in the time, the effort, and the dedication. And so this evening, we have the privilege of honoring several staff members. And so I just want to talk for a couple minutes about some of the qualifications. The first qualification is a college degree is the first requirement in order for a person to be employed as a teacher in the state of Michigan. Then in order for a public school teacher in Michigan, they must hold a certificate as well as the highly qualified endorsement in that area of teaching. They also are required to take several hours of professional development annually. New teachers are required to take 90 hours of professional development as well. In addition to that annual professional development, teachers are held to immensely high standards in order to attain tenure with a school district such as Huron Valley. Teachers go through a probationary period for 5 full school years at which they must demonstrate the competencies that are necessary in order to earn teacher tenure. And then they must be rated at least effective or highly effective on their 3 most recent year-end evaluations and completed their first 5 years of employment. And so I have the privilege this evening of recognizing and acknowledging several folks. First and foremost, Christina Warner, Lakewood High School. Christina, if you're here, if you wouldn't mind standing, we'd love to see you in the audience. Rosalind Adams, White Lake Middle School. Scott Armstrong, Harbor. Anna, hey Scott. Anna Bovio, Lakeland High School, sure. Trevor Chichowski, Spring Mills. April Conciani, Apollo. David Dobrin, Oxbow. Caroline Eby, Milford High School. Angela Ecklery, Lakeland High School. Kelly Fedorka, Country Oaks. Kelsey Johnson. Nathan Ladd, Highland. We have a number here. Alyssa Lewis, White Lake. Scott McDonald, Lakeland High School. Donna Orr, Milford High School. Jacqueline Probst, White Lake Middle School. Teresa Ann Roberts, Lakewood. Brittany Rossler, Lakewood. Brittany Stambonian, Johnson. Seth Stern, Spring Mills. Caroline Williams, IA. Lauren Zaliski, Oxbow. Kendra Appling, Oak Valley Middle School. Sonia Bone, Apollo. Kaylin Bogart, Heritage. Carol Diamond, Highland. Danielle Eller, Lakewood. Nathan Flynn, Milford High School. Autumn Frazier, Lakewood. Molly Haskell, Harbor High School. Gina Hochstead, Heritage. Chelsea Johnson, Spring Mills. Megan Gallagher. Muir Middle School. Jared Lawson, Harbor High School. Mara Lempert, Johnson. Allison Lizzett, Heritage. Becky Lucas, Apollo. Lauren Mabey, Johnson. Caitlin Marquis, Highland. Jenna McKnight, Lakeland High School. Sarah McPherson, Johnson. Amy Morgan, Heritage. Wendy Nellis, Oak Valley Middle School. Jeffrey Nelson, IA. Elora Nigra, Johnson. Lindsay Nozick, Apollo. Laura Page, Oxbow. Natalie Pendergrass, Highland. Stephanie Riddle, Lakewood. Laura Robert, Lakewood. Philip Snow, Oak Valley. We're almost done. Shannon Stolzenfield, Country Oaks. Deanna Strong, Oak Valley Middle School. Nerissa Clark, Apollo. Kaylin Tyler Kurtz. Carolina Walters, IA. Lisa Welch, White Lake Middle School. Elizabeth Woodard, Milford High School. Gavri Yaris, Lakewood, and Jordan Young, Highland Elementary School. Let's give it up for all of our recipients. We're here to celebrate with you, and those of you who are watching at home, congratulations on your accomplishment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Superintendent. I just want to check, do we have the folks from Lakewood Elementary here? If not, that's okay, we can move on.
I don't see them.
Okay, all right, so we will move on to items from the superintendent. Item 3 on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I have a few comments this evening, and then I have some folks I'd like to introduce. First and foremost, I just want to welcome everybody back. It was wonderful to see over the last week our students come back into the buildings for a full 5 days a week of instruction. It was really just quite refreshing to be able to greet students as they made their way to meeting their teachers and going into their classrooms. I'll just tell you a quick story. I unfortunately last week we actually had to cancel school on the first day of school for 3 of our buildings due to a power outage, which was not great for our kiddos on that first day, but it did give me an opportunity to be at Kurtz on their first day of school, which was September 9th. I met a young lady, second grader. Her name was Laura. I had the privilege of walking her to class and helping her find her teacher. And I will just tell you, that was probably the highlight of my week. Walking Laura to her class, I asked her one simple question. I said, so Laura, how was your summer break? And are you ready to get back? And she said, oh, and that was it. My summer break was great, but I'm really excited to get back to school because my 2 favorite subjects, you know what they are? They're reading and they're math. do you know why I like math so much? And she just went on and on and on. And it was wonderful. I learned a lot about Laura all the way until we got to her class. Mr. Jennings was her teacher. And she fit right in. And, you know, as soon as she walked in the class, she said, "Hi, my name's Laura." And another young lady said, "My name's Laura too." And, you know, I just know that these two are going to be best friends. So wonderful, wonderful first week. Just welcome back to the entire staff. I wanted to share that, you know, we continue to hire. We've had to cancel a few bus routes on a rotating basis. And we will likely have to continue doing that over the next couple of weeks until we can get fully staffed. If you're paying attention to the media or anything out there that speaks to some of the staffing shortages, well, school districts are not left untouched by those staffing shortages. And so our transportation department is working very hard to try and get fully staffed. And so if you know anyone who's interested in driving a school bus, it's a great place to work. There are a lot of opportunities, and I would just encourage you to take a look at our website. We also have opportunities in paraeducator ranks as well as school age care. In many instances, there are incentives for those who are willing to come on and stay with us for 6 months or a year. So I would just encourage you, please consider applying in a great school district. So I'm going to make it a point during my superintendent comments to touch on the fact that we are going to be asking the community to consider a non-homestead millage on November 2nd. And so I just a couple key points that I feel like need to be emphasized at each one of our board meetings. First and foremost, it's a routine ballot initiative that we go out for roughly every 10 years. It's a restoration and a renewal of a non-homestead millage. And what that means is it's non-homestead. It means it does not impact the primary residential owner. So that's the vast majority of folks who vote in elections. This non-homestead millage impacts businesses and second homes or vacation properties. And so what the state of Michigan has done is the way that they have organized the way that we are funded per pupil is they require us to go out for this ballot initiative once every 10 years in order to levy this additional tax on businesses and second homes. It's, as I said, it's routine and it is figured into what our base foundation allowance is. So the state of Michigan says every child receives $8,700 to be educated. Well, the state of Michigan assumes that school districts have passed this millage. If it were not to pass, it's about $10.5 million to Huron Valley schools. It would essentially put us into deficit. It would create significant challenges for us as a school district. So this document that you hopefully grabbed as you walked in this evening, we have this also on our website, and I will begin making my way to the various PTA groups and various community groups to start having conversations about and answering questions about the non-homestead millage. I just wanted to raise that this evening for your attention. Also, another important point, I want to just thank our staff, especially those who are, let's just say, enduring the construction. I know that we said that when you come back, everything will not be done and perfect, but it's a different thing saying it and experiencing it. And so, you know, our team is experiencing it right now. I know we're getting close, but I just want to thank you for your patience because the buildings look magnificent. And once they're complete and done and all the furniture is in place, I think we're all going to celebrate for many, many years. So with that, Mr. President, my final item is I have the opportunity and the privilege to introduce the newest members to the Huron Valley family. Really feel privileged at some of the folks that we were able to hire. First and foremost, I want to start with our supervisor of transportation, Belinda Hoyle. Belinda is, you know, I've been hiring administrators for a long time. Belinda is probably the most interesting hire that I've ever had the privilege of hiring. Belinda comes to us with 15 years plus experience in transportation. She began her career as a bus driver Then she served as a router for Oakland schools. Then she went on to earn her bachelor's in business while working as an assistant supervisor in transportation in Walled Lake, followed by a director of transportation in Charlotte, Michigan. Now, here's what's interesting. Then she decided to go on and earn her master's of English degree in education and moved to Texas, where she taught for 6 years. And now she's back.
I'm back. I love transportation.
And she loves transportation. So and she really does love transportation. She's doing an outstanding job. So I'd like to introduce Belinda Hoyle. Thank you, Belinda. Welcome this evening. Would you like to make a couple comments?
Thank you. I'm just happy to be here. Happy to be in Huron Valley. My children went to school here for some of their school careers at Country Oaks, Oak Valley, and Lakeland. Played football at Lakeland a little bit and have really enjoyed it. The transportation is a challenge right now, but what a great staff we have. Many transportation staff members are working, 12, 13 hours a day, doing everything they can to get transportation to our kids. And the long-term, solution is going to be to get more drivers in, and so much support and all the things you've have offered our drivers to get them in here. And so I appreciate that. We're gonna have a good year.
Thank you, Belinda.
Thank you.
Welcome to Huron Valley.
Thank you.
Next up, I'd like to introduce Nick Peruski. He's not a stranger to Huron Valley Schools. Nick, I just named Nick the assistant he's not the assistant superintendent, at least not yet. Maybe at some point in his career, I could see that. So Nick Peruski, assistant principal at White Lake Middle School. Nick has worked in Huron Valley Schools for the last 11 years as a CTE coordinator, CTE teacher for the district. He was Michigan's 2019, you might remember the Michigan's 2019 Millikan Educator Award recipient, which is quite a distinction. Nick has a bachelor's degree in integrated science from Eastern Michigan University, a master's in instructional technology from EMU, and an educational specialist degree in educational leadership from Oakland University. And Nick's going to be an outstanding administrator. Please join me in congratulating Nick.
Thank you, Dr. Slaw and Board of Education. Huron Valley is such a special place, and I feel very honored that I am able to better serve our staff, students, and community in this new role. I didn't know 12 years ago when I student taught with Michelle Chakowski that I would find myself serving as her assistant principal, which is kind of a fun coincidence. Middle school is a really challenging time for a lot of kids, and I feel very honored that I'm able to kind of help them get ready to become a high schooler and really learn who they are as a person and learn how to be kind and empathetic to each other and to just kind of grow into becoming an adult. So I'm really excited for this school year and I'm really proud to be part of Huron Valley.
Thank you, Nick. Welcome. So next up, I have the privilege of introducing Libby Held, assistant principal at Lakeland High School. Libby holds a bachelor's in English and a master's in curriculum and teaching from Michigan State University. And most recently, she worked in the Holly School District as a secondary literacy specialist, as well as an administrative coordinator capacity for their online program. She is also participating in Oakland University's Aspiring Principals Academy and pursuing an educational specialist degree. Libby, we're so happy to welcome you to the HVS family. Let's give Libby a nice round of applause.
Thank you all. I have received such a great warm welcome from everybody here at Huron Valley, and it's definitely a pleasure. Leaving Holly for after 20 years there and leaving a family and knowing that and trusting from everybody's reaction so far, I definitely have I definitely feel welcomed into a new family, and I'm excited to help the teachers and the students grow. Like you said, curriculum and planning is something that is a passion of mine, and I'm really looking forward to working with the teachers and the students.
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Libby. Welcome. The next introduction I'd like to make is Liz Sominski, another HVS native. She's not new to HVS. Liz has worked in Huron Valley for the last 15 years, starting as a skills for living teacher at Lakeland High School. Then she joined the Milford High School staff for the last 11 years. and has most recently served as an interim assistant principal. Liz has also served in the dean role. Liz has a bachelor's from Western Michigan University and a master's in educational administration from Madonna University, and she joins Milford High School as an assistant principal. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you. I'm really excited to join the administrative team officially at Milford High School. My heart belongs there. The kids are super important. I love the staff. The staff was incredibly welcoming when the news was announced. And so I'm just really excited to be here. And I just want to say thank you again.
Excited to have you. Thanks, Liz. And then my last introduction this evening, and then I promise I'll stop talking. Nathan Wangelin. Nathan is being named assistant principal at Lakeland High School. Nathan holds Nathan, I don't know what this is, okay? It's a BIS.
Bachelor in Criminal Justice.
Bachelor in Criminal Justice, and it does say that here. He earned a Bachelor in Criminal Justice from Saginaw Valley State University, a Master's in Science and Sports Administration from Wayne State University, and an Educational Specialist in K-12 Administration from Wayne State University. Nathan comes to us from Chippewa Valley with his most recent 2 years as an instructional coach and 10 years of teaching experience. And he also had 2 years of teaching experience in Madison Heights. He's excited to expand his career into the administrative ranks. So Nathan, welcome to the HVS family. I know you haven't started yet, but it's a special place.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to be here. I should add, I was a ELA curricular leader this year too as well. So building and changing curriculum, 6-12. So really excited to bring my knowledge, to the table, bring it to Huron Valley. And it's nice not to drive an hour anymore, my hour commute, but I'm super excited to be here. I'm in the community. I live right up the road from Lakeland, and not only be a pillar in the community at Lakeland, but just White Lake and the surrounding areas as well. So I'm excited to be here and can't wait to start on Monday.
Thanks, Nathan. Welcome. That concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Salah. I just want to open it up. Any board members? Ms. Brower here? Okay. All right. I just wanted to welcome all the new administrators. Thank you very much. Belinda, I did have one question though. We're going to be able to teach English on the bus as the kids are coming to school? No.
I try to stay off the bus.
All right. We'll go items from the board. Secretary Cotter, any correspondence?
No correspondence to report tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Treasurer Pastana.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Vice President Forrest.
I'm good, thanks.
Trustee Wiseman.
Nothing to report.
Mr. Long.
Nothing this evening.
Ms. Dodd.
Nothing from me.
All right. Okay. Student leadership comment. Do we have any student leaders here? I'm not seeing any notes from any student leadership. Association comment. I think Ms. Hollander is here. Yes, here she comes.
Good evening and welcome to the 21-22 school year. Our educators are excited to be back in school, doing what we do best, teaching and learning and building positive relationships. I want to take a moment to recognize all of the HVS staff in our 4 elementary schools who have been under construction at Johnson, Highland, Lakewood, and Oxbow. As everyone knows, if you've gone through construction on your house, once the construction is completed, it is not ready yet for visitors. Our educators, paraeducators, principals, office staff, and HVS custodial staff put in hours upon hours last week, including working through the Labor Day weekend. It is through their unbelievably hard work and their dedication to our Huron Valley families that our classrooms and our buildings were ready on Wednesday to welcome back our students. The educators at these 4 buildings and at all of our buildings set an example across the district as what we do as educators in Huron Valley. Earlier tonight, we recognized our newly tenured staff. Each of these educators not only demonstrates exceptional skills, but they have chosen to remain in Huron Valley for their careers. Our country is in a unique situation at the moment with so many teaching openings. So experienced educators can move from district to district, receiving an increase in salary and benefits. But despite this fact, these educators have chosen to make Huron Valley their home. In communicating with the tenured teachers, many common themes emerged. Of course, their favorite moments are with their students. Connecting with the student, helping him or her to achieve, and then being present during those aha moments is definitely a highlight and was shared multiple times with me. In addition, the educators expressed their love in the reward of watching their students develop academically and learn those new skills. But more often, their favorite part of being an educator has to do with building relationships with students and watching them bloom throughout the year. Lindsay Nozick, an HVS graduate herself, she's an educator at Apollo Early Childhood Center. And she says, quote, "My favorite part of being an educator is the relationships I develop with my students and their families. I also love to see each child grow at their unique and beautiful rate." Katie Marquis, an educator at Highland, feels that her favorite part of being an educator is making those positive connections with students to help them learn and be successful. She says, quote, "I'm honored to be part of an amazing profession, to know what I am doing truly makes a difference in the lives of our youth." And although these educators are relatively new to the profession, many of them have taught in other districts but have found their way to the Valley. They are well aware of the challenges in education and each year make the choice to come back to school again. They know that their dedication makes it difficult to maintain sometimes a positive work-home life balance, and they also experience that there's definitely not enough time in the day. They feel the impact of the changes that are being asked of them each year, whether it's changing a course to teach, a grade level, or a new curriculum. And they also recognize that it takes time and effort to build relationships with all of our students, as each student is unique and requires a thoughtful approach to connecting. Teresa Roberts, a teacher at Lakewood, she works to make sure that every student at his or her own, she works to make sure that she reaches every student at his or her own individual level. She knows this is challenging at times, and she wonders if she's doing enough, but she knows it's really important to make these connections. And finally, a few of our educators, they wanted to share a few thoughts with you about why they stay in Huron Valley. Betsy Woodard, a tenured teacher at Lakeland, she remarks, quote, "I really appreciate all of my colleagues and administrators for being so supportive." Another educator said, "I'm grateful for the strong and kind community and family at Huron Valley Schools." And to end my association comments tonight, I want to highlight the thoughts of Kendra Appling, currently a special education teacher at Oak Valley Middle School. "I remember Mrs. Appling as an elementary student when I worked at Spring Mills many years ago. And then when I was working at Heritage, Miss Appling, she was doing her student teaching there. So I can say beyond a doubt that I've had the honor of watching Miss Appling grow up in Huron Valley schools. And she expressed to me, 'I love to be able to give back to the school district that poured into my life and made me the person I am today.'" So as you can tell, our newly tenured staff, they are all in. They choose to work here. Many of them choose to live here. And our students and staff benefit each day from their enthusiasm, their knowledge, and their commitment to Huron Valley Schools. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move to item number 7, public comment, agenda items only. I have 4 public comments up here. Appreciate that, but they are all non-agenda items, so they'll be addressed in section 12. So we'll move to section 8, reports from board committees, standing committees, the executive committee. I will provide the report out on the executive committee. The executive committee met on September 7th at 8 a.m. in the administrative offices. Present were Denise Forrest, Tom Weissman, Dr. Salah, and our HR director, Relisha Glover, and myself. There were no public comments. The agenda that was presented, we had discussions around board policy 4100. And we had some discussion there. We also had a staffing update that provided a verbal staffing update, and we asked Ms. Relisha to provide the board with the latest details in some of the upcoming board notes. September 13th meeting, we discussed and went over the agenda that is before you tonight. We also discussed new administrative hires. You heard from Dr. Salah just previously, and then our meeting adjourned at 9:20. So that was our discussion. We are looking at the next board meeting of being October 11th. We do have something scheduled tentatively right now on September 27th, correct? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the executive meeting here. But we did have a discussion about the regular board meeting of the 27th of September being canceled. So I just wanted to share that. There's been, that has not been officially formalized yet, but that was a discussion as well that we had at the meeting. So, and that, as I said, we adjourned at 9:20. I will now move to the next committee, TLT. Ms. Dodd.
Thank you. Teaching, Learning, and Technology Committee met on August 20th. We started at 10:30 at the Huron Valley Schools Administrative Building. We started at 10:33. Sorry, a 3-minute difference there. Present, myself, Lindsay Cotter, Denise Pastana, also John Trevernier, Dr. Sala, Jennifer Bjorkman, Martin Lindberg, and Dr. Jessica Cohen. There was no public comment, so we moved right on to the regular agenda items. We talked about the professional learning communities and there being a re-engaged focus for the 21-22 school year, supporting the teams in re-engaging the PLC work. The early release days this fall will be specifically dedicated to additional time for our educators to engage in the PLCs. We also talked about the collaborative inquiry training this week, so that would have been the week of the 20th. All administrators engaged in collaborative inquiry training as part of the administrative retreat. Mr. Martin Chaffee from Oakland Schools facilitated the first of 4 sessions with the team. We also discussed new teacher orientation. The TLT department at that point was looking forward to welcoming our new teachers to the new teacher orientation on August 30th and September 2nd. This year, Ms. Nicole Commissars, Jennifer Hiddle, and Jennifer Hollander will be leading the NTO sessions. New teachers also will participate in a mentor-mentee meeting throughout the 21-22 school year. Under agenda item other, we had another few updates. Enrollment update. Mr. Trevernier provided an updated enrollment numbers. It was noted that several families have submitted open enrollment requests, which are being honored as quickly as possible where room is available. Several additional classrooms have been added as students have enrolled in Huron Valley schools. Also had an update on facilities. The committee discussed student access to restroom facilities as a result of concerns brought forward during public comment at our last board meeting. Student restrooms will be open and available to all students for the start of the 21-22 school year. It was noted that enhanced surveillance equipment will help curb challenges with vandalism. We also discussed the HVVA schedule. The committee discussed changes to the HVVA schedule for the upcoming school year, specifically the shift to 5 days a week of instruction. Mr. Trevernier shared the pupil accounting rules, which will be followed. Last year, the district had great flexibility in scheduling as part of the pandemic learning requirements. However, this year, pupil accounting rules are reverted back to pre-pandemic standards. We also discussed, there were no consent agenda items, so we did not discuss any of those, and we adjourned at 11:56 a.m. Our next meeting is scheduled for September 17th at 10 a.m. at the administration building. Any questions?
Thank you for that report. We'll now move to Finance and Operations Committee. Treasurer Pastana.
Yes, Finance and Operations met on Wednesday, September 8th at 10:05 in the Administration Building. Present were myself, Mr. Long, Mr. Wiseman, Dr. Salah, Mr. Van Gotham, Mr. Reby, Ms. Kerrigan, Ms. Maruskin, Becky, Don, both from Clark Construction, Bill from TMP, and Ryan from Barton Mallow. There was no public comment. We talked about consent agenda items. There was none. We moved the state aid note request to new business for tonight. No unfinished business. New business was about the state aid note request. Jeffrey spoke of the fiscal year of 21-22 cash flow projections and the district anticipating from time to time spending more than it receives in revenues. It's reviewed its weekly cash flow and determined that cash flow may be tight at times for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022. The district wants to make sure that payroll and operating expenses are met during times when the revenues and expenditures do not match up directly. The district contracted with PNC Bank in obtaining a state aid note to have in place for possible future use and will seek a note of $4.75 million. We had board policy update. Jeffrey will draft a revision of board compensation for board policy 8105 and 9110 as a result of the IRS audit. This is going to be brought back to our next meeting after speaking to our attorney at Miller Johnson to get legal verbiage and wordsmithing. Other was our bond project tracking update. Don updated the committee on the final stages of construction within HVS, including all remaining items to be completed at each school as of 9/7/21. Becky shared the original bid, contingency, and board approved total amounts in a summary log as requested. She added trade reviews and comments to the sheet, which was an item the board was happy to see as we wrap up Bid Pack 4 and gear up to start Bid Pack 5. Finance and operation update. Jeffrey informed the committee that we are good on PPE supplies throughout the district. We anticipate the auditors will attend our November 10th Finance and Operations Committee meeting and with the board meeting to follow. The Food Service Department continues to serve free meals to all students for breakfast and lunch throughout the 21-22 school year. And HVVA will have one pickup per week at Milford High School for their weekly meal distribution. Transportation Department is headed in the right direction under the new leadership of Belinda, who we met tonight. Dr. Salah gave us an update of the positive experiences of the first day of school, minimal disruptions at the schools, and we talked about how the buildings looked amazing from all the hard work over the summer. Mr. Long asked for an update of our funds and how they look if they're at risk. Dr. Salah spoke with our legislative consultant who's formulating a plan B to backfill with state general fund money should anything fall through. Further discussion items. Mr. Wiseman asked who is notified and what the procedure is in administration, athletics, maintenance, and operations when flags must be flown at half staff. Meeting was adjourned at 12:05. Our next meeting is September 22nd at 2:30.
Thank you, Treasurer Prestana. We'll now move to, I believe it's Trustee Long in regards to Communications, Marketing, and Legislative Committee.
Yes. Communications, Marketing, and Legislative met on Friday, September 10th at 8:30 a.m. at the administrative offices. Present were myself, Lindsay Cotter, Laura Dodd, Dr. Salah, Laura Colvin, and Kim Root. None of the public commented. We received a legislative update from Dr. Salah regarding the equalization payments to school districts that may be at risk. He outlined the work being done at the federal level to assure these funds are distributed per the intent of the Michigan legislature and the governor's office. Ms. Root updated us on the non-homestead millage information campaign. She reaffirmed that school employees may not use district resources to seek yes votes. Informational campaigns are permissible. We received a COVID update. Ms. Root provided details regarding the district's COVID protocols and desire to keep kids in school learning face-to-face. She noted that significant quarantines last year were the toughest part of navigating COVID. She highlighted the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services criteria for quarantines, noted that masked individuals 3 feet or further apart would not have to quarantine if determined to be in close contact with a COVID positive person. She also indicated the district intends to maintain its COVID dashboard on the website, so any constituents or any board members may refer to that dashboard to monitor current cases. We received an update on the website rebuild. September and October will be used to train department and building staff on the new HVS website and app, and the launch date for both is projected to be October 31st. Ms. Root gave us an enrollment update and highlighted the district's successful marketing. We have 74 new students in Huron Valley through the Huron Valley Virtual Academy School of Choice. One other topic is Shannon Loso provided an update on rec and ed programming and pools and fitness over the past year. She noted that while many programs shut down, the Huron Valley Rec and Ed program was able to adapt to the demands of COVID. By being responsive to mandates and protocols and adjusting our events, classes, and leagues, we were able to show a profit in community schools of just over $10,000. This is significant for two reasons. In previous years, the program has operated in a deficit driven by pools and fitness, and we were able to show a profit during the pandemic. Our meeting was adjourned at 9:30 a.m. Our next meeting is Friday, October 8th, 2021. Ms. Root, do you know what time that is?
8:30
8:30, yeah. Thank you.
a.m. 8:30 a.m.
AM?
Thank you, Trustee Long. Arts, athletics, and activities.
That would be me.
Yes,
Yep.
Ms. Forrest.
Yes, this committee has not met since our last meeting in September. We have a meeting scheduled for this coming Wednesday, September 15th at 4 p.m. at the admin building.
Thank you. All right, we'll move to the consent agenda. We have two items on the consent agenda. Can I get a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Mr. Long.
I'll
Support.
Oh,
Ms. Forrest supports. All in favor signify by raising your hand. All who oppose. Ayes have it. Consent agenda passes. We'll now move to nothing on unfinished business. We'll now move to new business. Approval of state aid note request, Exhibit B. Dr. Salah.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to ask Mr. Van Gotham to address this item.
Thank you, Dr. Salah. So as Ms. Pastana so eloquently stated, from time to time on an annual basis, the district spends more than it receives in funding. And for that, we typically have asked for a state aid line of credit or a state aid note to help us in times where our cash inflows and outflows do not match up directly. This is actually the fourth year that we have done this. We have maintained a fund balance that requires us to borrow from time to time. Obviously, as that fund balance has increased, it's less pressure for our cash to be needing to be borrowed. So again, this is the fourth fall that we have asked to have a state aid note and or line of credit. We are asking for a state aid note at this time. We've worked with PNC, who is our district's primary banking group, to assist in providing us with a state aid note. Again, the goal is that we utilize this, very infrequently, and with the upcoming funding potentially impacting the district, we're hopeful that we'll be in a better position financially than we were over the last several years. But from time to time, we do ask to be able to borrow so that we can maintain our payroll for our staff, as well as operating expenditures that are vital for the operation of our school district. So we are coming to the board this evening to ask for the state aid note, which will expire at the end of the fiscal year 2022. And we ask the board to take action on this so that we can close on the state aid note and have that funding available. Because as we look at our projections over the next few weeks, we may need to borrow just a little bit to get us through before our first state aid payment, which is October of 21. So that is the request before you this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Van Gotham. Can I get a motion to put this on the agenda? Mr. Weissman?
Yes, I move that the Board of I move that the Board of Education approves the resolution and does delegate authority to Jeffrey Van Goethen, Assistant Superintendent, to obtain state aid.
Is there a second?
I'll support.
All right, supported, motion moved by Mr. Weissman, supported by Ms. Pastana. Are there any questions or comments for Mr. Van Gotham? Mr. Weissman.
Yeah, I think it's important to note and reemphasize a couple things that Jeffrey did make comment of. One, this short-term borrowing is on an as-needed basis, correct? And at the same time, it's one of those things as it relates to when we receive our state aid monthly payment and how that ties into when our various financial obligations occur.
That is correct. Yeah, and the dollar amount that we're talking about is, sometimes our payroll runs anywhere from $2 to $3 million on twice a month. So you're talking about pretty big transactions. So while we do our best to bring the inflows and outflows to match as quickly as possible, we're a $125 million school district. So the need to borrow from time to time is just, kind of where we're at as a district right now.
And it's short term and it's something that's paid back immediately upon receipt from the state.
Correct.
The other thing I think it's important to note is while our fiscal year begins on July 1, fiscal year for the state begins on October 1st. So for this year, for the 21-22 school year, we have yet to receive any funding for the 21-22 school year to help operate the school district.
That is correct. We receive 11 payments from the state of Michigan and our state aid, which is our largest form of revenue that we bring into the district to operate. And our first payment comes to us roughly October 19th to 21st, given the Friday weekend, Monday setup. So yeah, we go from July 1st while receiving state aid. It's actually state aid for the prior fiscal year. So we incur over 3.5 months of expenditures before we have any revenue. We do receive our property taxes, which helps offset that, but we do not receive any state aid payments till the third week of October for the fiscal year, July to June.
Thank you very much for the explanation, Jeffrey.
Are there any other questions or comments? Seeing none, we will move for a roll call vote.
Thank you. Mr. Weissman.
Yes.
Ms. Pastana.
Yes.
Mr. Long.
Yes.
Where'd Mrs. Dodd go?
She stepped out.
Oh, okay. Mrs. Forrest.
Yes.
Ms. Cotter is a yes. And Mr. Carlson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. I would also like to ask for approval of the agenda. I would like to add under new business item B, Lakewood Elementary. But I need to get approval by the board members. I know that there was some difficulty for Lakewood principal to get here this evening, but she's here now and I would like to entertain that.
Support.
Motion made by Mr. Long.
I'll support.
All right, supported by Ms. Pastana. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Ayes have it. We'll now move to Lakewood Elementary. Dr. Slot, can you do the introduction?
Sure, yes, thank you. I would invite Ms. Brower down to the microphone. I know she has a presentation this evening, and as we've heard mentioned a couple of times, construction has been a hot topic, right, Ms. Brower? So she's going to provide an update for the board this evening regarding construction at Lakewood. I think you got to turn the mic on, Joe.
There we go. Is that better? First, I want to apologize for being late. There was an issue that needed my attention at the building. So it got me here a few minutes late, but I was glad to hear some of the pieces because it kind of goes right into what I wanted to present. Usually at the beginning of the year, I like to bring, or throughout the year at the board meetings, I like to bring students, but being 4 days in, the only thing on the students' mind is the transition that happened since they've been at Lakewood last. So I thought what a great opportunity to share with you. As you may or may not know, Lakewood was built in 1974. And since 1974, there's been a few things changed once in a while. Like 1 year we might have a fresh coat of paint, 1 year maybe new carpet. But this year, what happened was just amazing. I was a little doubtful that things would be ready and up and running, and they were. I would drive by in the summer, and just to see the work that was going on there, it took a magician to put it all together, because there were carpet people, there were wall people, there were electrical people, there were HVAC people, there were construction people, there were brick layers, everything going on all at once. It was like this big, I don't know, they didn't know each other, but they were all working really, really hard, and it was just amazing to watch. And when the kids came back, like Dr. Salah said earlier, it's not all together, but it's together, and we are enjoying the new building. We're enjoying all the changes. We're looking forward to December when the gym will be done. But in the meantime, I wanted to share, I put together some pictures that I took over the summer, and some pictures in the last couple of weeks, just so that you guys can see. We're excited that the kids are in there and the staff is excited. We're really excited that when the parents will be able to come in a few weeks for our curriculum night and see the changes. And so this is just a little sneak peek for everybody. Maybe. Stunning. I did check it last. Ah, that's us.
Doesn't want to cooperate. It's a really great video too. I saw
Oh,
it.
did you already see it?
Yeah, I did see it.
Oh, there's no internet.
Okay.
John's on that.
I'm gonna take.
We're going to take just a 5-minute recess here, because I'd like to see this video.
Can't see that. I'm gonna have to look over here.
All right, here we go. We're back in session here. Go ahead. White 7 doors.
That's it. As you can see, there's a lot that happened, and it's amazing new space to work and to learn in. Did you guys have any questions?
Any questions for Principal Brower? Ms. Cotter?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment, and I want to compliment Ms. Brower and her staff. I participated in opening day, and thank you, Mr. For assigning me to Mr. Carlson. Thank you for assigning me. I'm now their liaison. So I took the opportunity to be there on opening day, and I was very impressed how everybody was working together and how the families, walked in. It was just a very emotional day, and I have to thank her PTA because they were out there after that storm we had the night before. They were out with chalk writing greetings on the sidewalk as everyone came in from the parking lot. It was definitely a combined effort of Jill, her staff, and the families there. So congratulations, and I hope you enjoy your new digs that you've got there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you, Lindsay. Any other comments? Ms. Dodd?
I know we said it before, but I'll say it again. Thank you so much to you and the staff. It was a lot of work. I've rehabbed houses and moved in, and I can only imagine the added stress and pressure for having all of these people and all of this stuff together. And then this whole family of kids and families coming back ready and excited to be there. When we toured your school, I was so appreciative of your positive attitude and the positivity that was coming from everybody in the building, even though it was just a few short days until school opened and they knew they had a lot to do. So obviously you're setting an excellent example in the school of the can-do attitude. And I'm sure it really radiated on those kids. And it sounds like Lindsay saw exactly that on opening day. So thanks and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dodd. Ms. Force?
Sure. Thanks, Mrs. Brower, for that slideshow. And I want to, again, congratulate you and staff. We did a tour maybe, was it a week before school started? And there was a lot of activity, a lot of classrooms that were not able to really be put back together quite yet. I know your staff was working overtime, doing just that, probably up to the last minute, getting those classrooms ready for the kiddos. And I mean, I'm just especially pleased that the gymnasium is it the cafeteria is no longer the gymnasium, or the gymnasium is no longer the cafeteria? Not sure. And that there's a beautiful new, very large art room with a kiln room. When I taught year round over at Lakewood in the art room, there was a kiln. The kiln was in the boiler room, which was all the way across from the school. So I'm wheeling all this fragile stuff down to fire ceramics in the kiln, and didn't break anything. It's a miracle, but the logistics are going to be so much better. So, I'm thrilled about that. So I'll be stopping back to see how that's going on later in the school year. So thanks for the presentation.
That kiln is still in the old room if you'd like to take it home with you.
Maybe. Got to get the 220 going in the garage. So
I also want to appreciate the workers that are there. I know when students are in session now, they are working out of sight. And as soon as the kids leave at 4:30, they're back up. They were up on the roof today. They were outside putting things on the outside of the new gym, and they were inside up in the ceiling as well. So they're working hard still to get us up and completely 100%.
Thank you, Ms. Brower, for being here and sharing this with us. And I want to give a special thank you to the community. Although we saw this from Ms. Brower, none of this would be possible without our taxpayers passing the millage 2 years ago. And this is a great reminder of how important the non-homestead that Dr. Salah talked about earlier. This goes to our students, to our kids, and it's important. They're the ones that are able to benefit, and our staff. And it's just a great reminder of how important these millages are to our community. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. We'll now move to item 12 on the agenda. Public comments, non-agenda items only. We've got a few here tonight. So I'm gonna ask Ms. Hill if she can put 3 minutes on the board here, and I'm gonna call up individuals. I had asked them to line up here against the concrete wall as it's coming down to the podium. I'm going to ask Jeff Granger, got Haley Granger, Ava Granger, and Melissa Granger. So I'm going to ask the whole Granger family to come on down. And Jeff, right over this way. That way's fine.
Stand over there. All right. Good evening. My name is Jeff Granger, and I live in White Lake. I have two daughters. One's in middle school and one's in elementary. So I'm here to talk about masks once again. What I want to say is, what is so wrong with giving parents a choice? I'm sick of living under an emergency health order for close to 2 years now. Where's the emergency? We did not elect Leanne Stafford. She does not have the right to be a dictator over our rights as parents to decide whether we want to mask our kids. We elected you guys to represent us parents in the district. At this point, you're just taking away our freedom of parental choice. The mask mandates, testing of asymptomatic kids and quarantines are hurting this district financially. Several families have left the district already. More families will drop the district if these mandates continue to be in place. Our patience is wearing thin. Excuse me. Masks are not effective at stopping this virus. A CDC study in Georgia last year concluded this. Only N95 masks are effective, not the ones the kids are wearing. Let's quit playing games and let's be real. If you look at the Lions game, the Michigan game, there's 100,000 sometimes plus. And the fact is, the masks trap carbon dioxide. This prolonged asphyxiation can lead to headaches, sleepiness, and decrease in cognitive function. Masks encourage dehydration. My kids have even told me that they're not allowed to drink water unless the teacher tells them to, which is ridiculous. Masks interfere with verbal and nonverbal communication, which negatively impacts learning effectiveness. Mask studies have also shown that they can lead to dermatology issues, skin issues. Lastly, shifting gears, I want to praise White Lake Middle School for being very organized. I'm impressed with my daughter starting out there that she came home with a syllabus for every class she was in. I didn't get that when they were in elementary school, so I appreciate that. And I feel like there's this big disconnect lately between the parents and the schools. There's been no curriculum night lately. Most years there's only one parent-teacher conference, and it's soon after the school starts. I didn't meet my kids' teachers last year until after school was over.
Thank you, Mr. Granger. Appreciate that. All right, Haley Granger. Can you pull that mic down? There you go. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Haley Granger, and I'm a 6th grader at White Lake Middle School. I was so excited to start this school year because you said masks were going to be optional, but you changed your mind at the last minute. This made me sad because I wanted a normal school year. You took away my choice. I can't even remember what normal school was like before masks. I hate the new normal while I'm forced to wear a mask all day, even in gym. I don't like when teachers yell at kids for pulling their masks down because sometimes we need to breathe. I miss seeing other kids' faces. I can barely breathe. Masks are uncomfortable. I feel like the masks make me tired and sometimes give me headaches. Masks hurt my ears. Masks fog up my glasses, and it is hard to see. It is also hard to talk. People can barely hear me. I also sweat in the mask. Sometimes it is totally gross. This is impacting my learning, and it is not fair. I also did some research on COVID. I found that it is not very dangerous to children. I also had a hard time finding stories about kids spreading the virus to adults. I found that the flu is more dangerous. It seems like this nightmare of wearing a mask in school will never end. The schools have also canceled a lot of activities. I was so excited to do the talent show, go to 5th grade camp. They also canceled all the holiday parties for my last 2 years of elementary school. I'm only in school while I'm a kid, and you're taking these experiences away from me. Lastly, I only have to wear a mask at school. Please stop forcing us to wear a mask. We should be able to make our own decision. My body, my choice.
Thank you, Haley.
Thank you.
Ava? Oh, she wants to, all right. Melissa?
Okay. Good evening. My name is Melissa Granger, and I am a resident of White Lake. I have 2 daughters in the district, one at White Lake Middle and the other at Oxbow. It saddens me that I am here to talk about the continuation of masks and the COVID vaccine. As a parent, I was so happy when you all had decided to let masks be optional. I really thought that we were making progress as parents and the board, but at the last minute, of course, that changed. I understand that the Oakland County Health Department put out a mandate, but that is a suggestion, not a law. Where is Leanne Stafford or David Coulter to speak to parents about why they felt this was only necessary in schools? Show me the data of kids actually getting COVID, being hospitalized, or dying. Those numbers are so low, they do not support this asinine mandate. Why does the Oakland County Health Department make it seem like children are most at fault for spreading this disease? Children should not be made to feel that they are doing something wrong by not wearing a mask. If staff have been given endless opportunities to receive the vaccine because they wanted to, then why should it matter about the kids wearing masks or not? Getting the vaccine is a choice. Staff are choosing to protect themselves only. Staff getting vaccinated does not protect anyone else. It is none of our business either if they choose to or not. I will support all staff with whatever they decide when it comes to the vaccine because it is their choice. I would love to see the teachers union begin to work with parents so we can all support each other. Unfortunately, I have heard of several children getting harassed by other kids because they are choosing not to get vaccinated. How is this okay? It's not. The kids should not be concerned with who is or isn't vaccinated, nor should they be ridiculed. This is something that definitely needs to be addressed at the middle school and high school levels. When it comes down to the bottom line, we as parents are the only ones who should be making the choice for our kids on whether they wear a mask or get the vaccine. I hope that the board can help stop vaccine discrimination in our schools. Moving forward, it would be nice if the board would be transparent with all of us, good or bad. We are led to believe a lot of things, but then you turn around and change them last minute. How do you expect us to back you and respect you if you cannot do the same for us? As an example, changing the mask policy last minute brought my kids to tears and anxiety began to sit in. I wish we could move all this aside and focus on education, which is the most important because quite frankly, these policies hinder all of the children's academic growth. And I would like to just say, Oxbow looks fantastic. Love that the building got a facelift. And White Lake Middle has been amazing. It's been a great experience so far. I mean, everything so well organized, communication has been great. We love Huron Valley and we want to stick here. Just we can only take so much for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Miss Ava? Before you start though, if I could call Michelle Massal, Shayna Levin, Joe Courtney, and Linda Tidbury. If you can come on down. Go ahead, Miss Ava.
Hi, my name is Ava Granger and I'm a 4th grader at Oxbow Elementary. I really don't want to be here to speak, but I am tired of wearing a mask. I have asthma, my glasses fog up, and I have a hard time seeing. I also get bad headaches from wearing a mask. I would like to see all of you be a student for a day. I want to see all of you ride the bus for an hour with your mask on. I want to see all of you sit in a classroom for a day with a mask. I want to see you only take your mask off for 20 minutes while you scarf down your food, then put it back on. I want to see all of you run around and sweat in gym class with a mask on. You don't know what it is like to be a student and wear a mask for an entire day. Until you walked in my shoes, you do not have the right to tell me to wear a mask. We only get a mask break to eat and for recess. But you as adults get to take your mask off any time you want a break. Give me back my choice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ava. Michelle?
Hi, good evening. Ooh, sorry. Hi, good evening. I'm back. Second meeting down. Let me tell you, it's been an education over the last several weeks. Doing a lot of research and certainly not encouraged by what I'm finding. So a couple of questions I would appreciate being addressed this evening. One, flags and symbols in the classrooms of the teachers. I would like to make sure that there's no Black Lives Matter, no Antifa, no political type flags or signage, or teachers being allowed to wear shirts with those types of messages. Only US flag, state of Michigan flag. So that's number one. Number two, I'd like to know if the students are required to still say the Pledge of Allegiance as written, meaning we are one nation under God. We are a Christian nation founded on Judeo-Christian principles. Third, I would like to understand what the board's policy is very specifically as it relates to political ideology in the classrooms, which don't belong. Teachers' opinions and them bullying students to believe a certain way have no place in education. Also, I know I've spoken with Dr. Salah. I've done some more research. I have found one of the history books, which I ordered on Amazon and I will be reading. The other point is with regards to the amount of interest paid for the line of credit. And if this has been going on for 4 years and we can't balance our budget and we need lines of credit, I think there's something seriously wrong. As a household, I have to manage my budget, and I would expect the district to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. I just want to address, and I'm not going to address the other questions. We'll get back to you on the questions that you've asked. But I think it's important to understand, and this was explained earlier too. We don't get our state funding from the state of Michigan until what week is it, Jeffrey?
Of October.
Third week of October. So this isn't about balancing the budget. It's about needing credit because of how the fiscal is lined up. So it's not about balancing the budget. This school district does a good job of balancing budget. So I'm not going to debate that issue. I just think that what was said up here is not a correct statement. So I want to make sure that I'm verifying that. Shayna, come on up.
Good evening. I have a couple items I would like to bring up. These are questions, and I know you can't answer me now, but maybe someone can follow up with me. First, I understand the district hired a COVID coordinator. I don't recall seeing this job posted. Maybe I missed it. I'd like to know what this person does. I also know this person is related to the director of the Oakland County Health Division. I'm sure you can understand the appearance of a conflict of interest with this hire. Were other candidates considered? I reached out to Human Resources with these questions and I didn't hear back. Transparency will go so far to reestablish trust. I really hope these questions can be answered. Second, some parents have asked questions about the Second Step program that was rolled out, at least at Oak Valley. We've asked Mr. Tavernier for specifics about what will be taught, and answers have been vague at best. We want to know why. Again, if you're trying to build trust and you're not hiding anything in this curriculum, why not just be forthcoming with the answers? I'm part of a group of parents who aren't going away. We are passionate and we care about our kids and we care about all kids. We will keep using this passion to ask questions, but we look forward to getting past the questions and rebuilding trust and redirecting that passion back to our schools. We are the parents you want on your side. We're the parents who fundraise and who volunteer and who support or oppose non-homestead millages. Work with us and we will work and support you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shana. Joe Courtney?
Good evening. Last month when we spoke, HVS parents were here en masse with the hopes that someone from the board or Dr. Salah would assure us that you would be our voice and fight for our children. Unfortunately, but also expectedly, everyone here was non-committal and punted on the issue when it came to masking our children in our schools. The, hey, we're just doing what we're told defense was what we were given both in person and through the communication that Dr. Salah sent out welcoming the kids back to school. You were relying on the Oakland County Health Division mandate, who in turn said they were following recommendations from the CDC. Recommendations that were not followed by other school districts in the state, and recommendations that we now know were influenced by the American Federation of Teachers. Dr. Salah, I will reiterate the point that I made in the email I sent you to which there was no response. You don't want us to place school officials in a position of policing this mandate, which is also asking us parents to look at our children and tell them that we give up, that we will no longer fight for them and what we think is right. You are telling us to let our children know that the government knows what is right for them, not their own mothers and fathers. The superior orders or Nuremberg defense has never fared well in courts or in public perception. A good portion of HVS parents feel abandoned and no one is fighting for us. This will be remembered for a very, very long time.
Thank you, Joe. Linda? It says Linda.
Hi, it's Lisa.
Oh, it says Linda on here, sorry.
That's okay. My name's Lisa Tidbury. I'm a Highland Township resident. I wish to make a non-agenda item public comment today in support of the board putting the health and safety of our students, families, and school personnel above all other considerations by implementing Oakland County Health Department's most recent public health order in our schools. I have two students in Huron Valley, a 7th grader who's vaccinated and a 4th grader who's not yet eligible for the vaccine. After being virtual for the entirety of last year in the HVVA, I'm thrilled that my kids are able to be back in person in a safe environment with their peers. I assume that the shared goal of everyone in this room is to be at school in person for the long term. To do that and to avoid constant interruptions from quarantines or closures, we need to utilize all the tools we have to mitigate COVID-19 transmission. We should be doing whatever it takes to keep our kids and their teachers in school. By wearing masks and getting our kids vaccinated when possible, we're teaching them about public health. My kids have no problem wearing a mask. In fact, many times they forget they even have it on when I pick them up. They understand that we follow the directions of experts in order to protect the health and safety of the community. They understand that that's what it means to be a responsible member of society. Another very important reason for wearing a mask is to protect our teachers. They're the frontline workers who will be in close contact with kids all day. We want them to stay healthy so they can come to school each day to teach. We want to protect them from being exposed to COVID, not only because we care about them and their families, but because their inability to come to school due to a positive COVID exposure increases the reliance on substitute teachers, which there's a short supply of, and further disrupts the flow of instruction. In closing, I ask that you remain steadfast in your position and decision-making regarding health and safety protocols in Huron Valley schools. Please continue to employ the COVID mitigation methods that are proven, recommended, and available. A collective and proactive approach will be far more effective than a reactive and an individualistic one. Thank you for your ongoing efforts to keep our children safe in school.
Thank you, Lisa. All right, that concludes our public comments, non-agenda items. Item 12 on the agenda. We'll now move to item 13, good and welfare. Is there any good and welfare comments tonight? Ms. Dodd.
Yeah, Mr. Long talked about it during our legislative and communications report, but I do just want to let you know there is lots and lots of great stuff happening with Community Rec and Ed. They took the pandemic to really kind of adapt and learn from some of the things that we had to do that we've never done before, and they have made some super, super, super impressive and interesting changes. One that I'm excited about is the trick or trucks. They're going to do it. It's with the sirens and all the emergency vehicles. Well, they learned that they want to do the first session and the last session without sirens for kids where sirens may be a bother. The little ones are also kids who have some sensory sensitivities. So I was thrilled to see this. They're doing lots of great stuff. So please check out the Community Rec and Ed offerings for the kids. There's lots of great stuff there.
Thank you, Ms. Dodd. Any other good and welfare? Seeing none, we are adjourned.